Uh-oh. Okay, it's live.
Don't forget to mute the mic.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Factual Friday. Today we got a special episode, and sorry that we're starting a little bit later. This is about what time we will on summer days. As we get back into our routine, we have to go a little later, and that's when the sun sets. So we work around what we have. Anyway, back to this. We've got some interesting stuff today. First of all, I'm going to show some clips from our very own Sancho. He lives somewhere in Southern California, and he sent me a couple of small clips of the air traffic has been like increasing in his area. So I've got some stuff from Chaos Moogle that we're going to get into after this, and then stuff about what has been discovered under the pyramids in Giza. So this will be a very interesting episode. We'll be going over a lot of different things.
Yeah, this came up after we were talking about the drones from New Jersey.
Yes.
And we were talking about how we had like an increase of air traffic around here lately. And he said that he's noticed an uptick in the area where he works as well. So that's where these clips come from.
Yeah, he sent it directly from there and he gave us permission to show everybody.
And there is a couple more clips, but I didn't have space on the computer as usual, so...
Yeah, so we're going to put all these clips into a compilation thing so we can play them better later and people can actually enjoy them. So let's get on with the first one and then the second one.
Don't forget to mute.
Thank you, Sancho, for sending us those clips. There's those two. And what I noticed is the planes and helicopters do seem to be flying low within that area, especially with some of those high tension wires that were around the area.
I know, it's kind of weird.
Yes.
And it's like a thing down here in California. We're not too far away from very many of the bases and stuff. But we've just been seeing like a lot more really weird activity. You know,
We have.
Even for us out here with like prop planes.
Yes.
Weird stuff.
And there's been a lot more military too.
Right.
That has picked up.
Right. Really weird thing.
I mean, you hear them doing the buzz the towers to the houses here like crazy, right. And this is supposed to be a no-fly zone.
Right.
Our area.
Like that's obviously not happening.
Yeah, no, it's not. So, all right, let's now get our videos up and going to
see what's going on in the UAP world.
Yep. Okay, share screen. Not yet, though, because I want to be talking until it's going, because it takes a second. We're getting Like I said, we've got some really interesting ones to watch over today. Mahaha. Okay. Now that this is up for you guys, I am going to mute. Again, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's still laggy.
The UAP task force was referring. These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human.
Y'all, UFOs are everywhere. They're being seen.
Close out of it. That one. The one you're in, obviously.
Across the world in almost every single country. And recently, we've even seen that weird jellyfish UFO seemingly make a return. Well, today is no different, as we have a plethora of UFO sightings that are going to blow your mind. From a giant glowing orb that disappears in a fraction of a second to a report from News Nation that claims that the Pentagon is having secret meetings about that strange New Jersey UAP UFO incident. Let's check out these wild UFO sightings, starting with the clip from
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program. These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human.
Y'all, UFOs are everywhere. They're being seen across the world in almost every single country. And recently, we've even seen that weird jellyfish UFO seemingly make a return. Well, today is no different, as we have a plethora of UFO sightings that are going to blow your mind. From a giant glowing orb that disappears in a fraction of a second to a report from News Nation that claims that the Pentagon is having secret meetings about that strange New Jersey UAP UFO incident. Let's check out these wild UFO sightings, starting with the clip from UFO Mania that showcases a giant UFO orb taking off at hyper speed. This is one of my favorite clips that I've seen recently. Check it out. That was so cool. It seemed like it was just gliding across the sky, then suddenly decided to turn on hyperspeed and dip out, and we just saw it disappear in the distance. Or could this have been, as some claim, an illusion or glitch in the camera system? This was captured with night vision in Nevada. Next, we have a sighting from March 22nd, 2025 in Arizona. This showcases a strange shimmering UFO in the sky. Hosted by Dino Space Sloth, this truly resembles one of those strange man on a jetpack UFO UAP, but instead of being dark or jet black, this one is like a shimmering, iridescent, glowing light in that same figure. I don't know. It's just really strange. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Strange, isn't it? Now, because that does resemble the previous Jetpack Man UFO, which in and of itself did resemble the jellyfish UFO, some are wondering, could this video have been one of those jellyfish UFOs actually lit up? Next, we have a sighting from Pink Rose Blue Plate in Texas. This occurred March 25th of 2025 around 9:30 p.m. What you're going to see is three strange blue orbs of light drifting across the sky. And you'll actually be able to see planes further in the distance, kind of behind the lights, blinking and flashing. So you can see the difference between a blinking, flashing plane and whatever these strange, solid blue lights are. Smash like and take a look at this. I find it interesting, but honestly, I find sightings like that ominous when there's like no noise and they're just drifting slowly. Like, what are you doing? Do something cool or something. Don't just like slowly drift across the sky. You're creeping me out. Creepier still is the Pentagon holding secret meetings about unidentified drone activity or that strange UFO UAP drone New Jersey incident, whatever the hell was going on. Well, yes, the government is still talking about it, according to News Nation. They're just doing it in secret and keeping the public in the dark. Check out this News Nation report showcasing how these strange unidentified drones may be more important and more dangerous than we think.
Attention on Capitol Hill today, focusing, of course, on that explosive Senate intelligence hearing on global threats and the revelation that top administration officials texted plans for military strikes in Yemen to a journalist. But before that hearing, members of the Senate Armed Services Committee and officials from the Pentagon met in private. We're told that briefing focused on how the military is responding to drones. Remember these? Last year's dramatic increase in drone activity all across the Northeast. News Nation's Rich McHugh was covering it then. He's covering it now, joins us live. So, Rich, what are we learning about today's meeting?
Hi, Nicole. So the Senate Armed Services Committee met with members of the military. The meeting lasted about an hour in a very sensitive area of the Capitol building. We spoke with senators on the way out. They were very tight-lipped about what they discussed. Senator Tommy Tuberville, we asked him what was discussed. He said drones. We asked, did you learn anything from the Department of Defense about those drones over the Northeast in New Jersey? Here's what he had to say. He downplayed essentially that these were anything but personal or local drones. Take a listen.
We're going to run into that when you sell them over the counter. You're going to continue to have problems with that. You hate to put regulations on all that, but eventually that's going to happen when you have more and more access to the bigger drones, the drones that go farther, cameras, have different things on them. You know, they can be very dangerous used as a weapon, but again, it's all about catching up with technology, and again, anything that's unmanned can be used in a lot of different ways, as we're seeing overseas.
But here's the thing. The chair of the Armed Services Committee did not downplay this. Senator Roger Wicker of Mississippi made the bombshell claim to CBS News last week that the Pentagon and the National Security Advisors are still mystified about the drone activity last year. And after key revelations from the NORAD Northcom Chief General Gregory Guillot at the previous Armed Services Committee and threat about these drones, here's what he had to say.
Senator, the primary threat I see for them in the way they've been operating is detection and perhaps surveillance of sensitive capabilities on our installations. There were 350 detections reported last year on military installations, and that was 350 over a total of 100 different installations of all types and levels of security.
Yeah. Now, what these officials are saying essentially runs contrary to what the White House apparently told us back in January. They said that these drones were authorized by the FAA. The FAA, when I asked, directed us back to the White House for comment, Nicole.
All right, so Rich, you were in New Jersey speaking with law enforcement officials there throughout all of this. What are they saying?
I checked in with them again this morning. Two of the sheriffs that I've been in regular contact with said they've stopped seeing these drones. They still see the planes, but they've stopped seeing the drones, and they're kind of upset about the lack of information that they've been given. I spoke with Sheriff Sean Golden. He's the sheriff of Monmouth County, kind of the epicenter of this whole ordeal last December. Here's what he had to say.
I think in this day and age, particularly in a post 9/11 era, particularly in an area of threats and risk assessments, when we have an agency withholding information like that and not telling their own federal partners that were involved in this and not telling state and county and local officials what was happening, it really is disturbing to me, and something needs to be done. And I'm going to continue to push Congress for reform. And obviously there needs to be some accountability on this.
So if, as the chair of the Armed Services Committee says, that they are still mystified by these drone sightings, then we have a lot more to uncover in the coming weeks and months, Nicole.
Absolutely. All right, Rich McHugh, live for us there in New York. Thank you.
I think I'm just most angry that they're doing this in secret, because if you're telling us there's nothing to be worried about and that you guys already knew about this because it was like a practice, why are we still having meetings on it? Why are you still worried about it? And why are you doing it in secret, not allowing the public to know? We're the ones asking the questions. We're the ones who want to know what the hell's flying in our skies. What is happening here? I truly hope that we get more answers soon, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did check out those UFO videos and those reading Reddit videos and paranormal videos and like
All right, so yeah, you guys saw it through that. I mean, they're still obviously talking about it. There's still a lot going on with it. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Let me know. I mean, it sounds like that there's still something that the government doesn't want out there and doesn't want to be heard. You know, it's funny, it comes along with the leak of the iChat thing
Right.
that we talked about.
Right.
So there still sounds like there's a lot going on, though.
So, was this one talking about the Pentagon meeting?
Yeah.
So that's what that was there.
That was
So that still didn't really disclose a hell of a lot.
No,
Because they're
but
still saying they don't know what that activity was back in
no, they don't.
December, November. But, you know, the president said that he would disclose because he knew what they were. He said he would disclose within the first week of being in presidency what they were.
Yeah,
And he hasn't
but
done
obviously
that.
it's bigger than that. That he can't even.
I know, and that's what makes me think that it definitely is an extraterrestrial thing, or
Yeah.
something, because like every president in history has like either not known or been bound by not being able to tell anything. Well, even though it's like above them even.
The biggest one was Bill Clinton.
Actually, the biggest one was Truman.
Truman, okay.
Back in the
But Bill
day.
Clinton was another big one. He
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let people know there's something
and
big."
it was closed even to him.
Yep.
And that was crazy.
Exactly. All right, we got another one from him. I think 2 more, and then we got the next topic.
All the videos, check them out. Y'all, UFOs have piqued human interest since the dawn of time, and we started recording them in the night sky since the invention of the camcorder. And I know that here on this channel, we absolutely love UFOs and incredible sightings. So today I wanted to treat you guys to an amazing UFO compilation, all with their original sound, so you can get into the shoes of the people witnessing these events. And let me know in the comments below what you think it was that they saw in the sky. Check it out.
Look at that, Drew. Look at that, Harry. See it? It's falling from the sky, like it came out of space. Where'd it go? Where's the... It dropped. OMG, there's people out there looking. Where'd it go? I heard a loud cry. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. That's cool. I got you too.
I am zoomed in, man. Shit is pulsating and electrifying.
All right, this last one here is very interesting. It's staying in the clouds, but the one just before that was a fire helicopter. That would, I had water, the bucket of water,
And there was spray.
and there was spray coming from the bucket.
That's not. We see that all the time.
Yeah, we see that here with the fires all the time. I mean, you can tell what that is. So, yeah.
That shit went into the clouds.
Yo, that's a UFO for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yo, it's like that thing they showed on the
Oh,
movie.
whoa. What is that?
It's not like flying
No.
straight. It's like moving.
Yo, that's a UFO for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yo, it's like that thing they showed on the
Oh.
movie.
Isaac! What the fuck is that? Bro, Isaac! He's gone? Bro, what is that? Look at, you can see.
You can definitely tell that that's something because we've seen 2 clips where it looks like that, with flying through the cloud and using the clouds. And we've seen it a lot in general anyway throughout the years. That's one of their very big tactics, is flying through the clouds to keep cover.
Yeah, I mean, they even talk about like big ships coming in looking like a storm.
Yes.
Like it's like a cloaking thing and it just brings in like a storm.
Yeah.
So we got the little ones using them for real clouds for cover, or you have the big ships that are making their own clouds for
Exactly.
cover. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is.
You can see right through it. It's not a drone or anything.
It looks like a paragliding. Where is it?
Oh, it's there. Yeah. What the hell? No, I see that now.
Oh, I see. That's a paraglider. It's blue, white. It's blue and white. It's a paragliding. It's a paraglider. No, it's been there for 14 hours. It's not a paraglider.
What is that? Why is it fucking in the fucking air? I don't know if I got it on the screen because I can't see shit. What the fuck is it? Where is it? Where is it gone? Where's it gone? I can't see. Oh, there it is. What is that? What the fuck? Why is it just... There's nobody here. Nobody's here. Just me and Hero. And this motherfucking thing's in the air. It just launched from somewhere. There's nobody in here. It's just a big field. What is that? The hell is that thing? Where is it going? What is that thing? A fucking drone? Where the fuck did it go? What the hell's going on with this thing? I have no clue what this is right now. Look, there's nobody here. We're in a field by ourselves. Nobody.
Wow, that was absolutely incredible. And I know that nothing can match that experience for those people. It is important to always be at the ready for recording because you never know what's going to happen. And yes, I know that some people may fake some things for clout sometimes, but it just takes one of them to be real. And I feel like a lot of those were. I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash like, check out those UFO videos, paranormal videos, reading writer videos. Check out all the videos.
The UAP task force was refused access to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you saw that. I mean, some of these are absolutely amazing on the footage.
Someone would have scared me.
Yeah.
Because it definitely noticed that he was being
Oh, I
watched,
know.
and it was watching him watching
And it was
back.
definitely balloon light.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really creepy.
Back like a few years ago, like every couple decades or so, you'll see like a collection of them that are like round beads like that.
Yeah.
And they're metallic, and they cloak really easily because they're reflective of either the sky or the ground or the water.
Yes.
Weird, very weird.
It's very weird, yes. I mean, that's amazing.
It kind of reminds me of the ones, I mean, we only saw them at night, but do you remember it looked like they'd be like driving up the mountain
Yes,
like
I
in
do.
like a car, and then they get to the top of the mountain and just keep going, and then they fly right overhead, and it's like you just knew.
You knew, yeah.
That they were looking at you while you're
Yeah.
looking at them. You could just feel it, and I just like get the eeriest feelings, you know?
All right, so we got one more Moogle, and then we're going to move on to our new subject with the pyramids. Not really a new subject, it's a subcategory for it because...
Yeah, the ancient alien theorists have been talking about it for a long time.
Yes.
To a broad crash retrieval program. These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human.
Y'all, UFOs are popping up all over the place. We've seen them going in and out of volcanoes. We've seen them flying across the night sky and in broad daylight. Hell, we've even seen them on Mars. They're literally taking over the night sky. And still, we have no answers from our government as to what these things are. We hear that they've captured some of these crafts and retrieved biological entities, or I guess biologics from crash sites, but we never get answers. And now a new UFO has appeared that looks very similar to the strange jellyfish UFO that blew up last year that came from military surveillance. The uploader points out that it not only reminds him of the jellyfish UFO, which it does me too, I can see the similarities, but that it also looks like the jetpack man that they tried to blame the Peru Pelacara incident on. And it really does. Like, this sighting is so strange. It comes from Conquerors 22, and it happened March 21st of 2025. This occurred in Saladin, Iraq. Check out the video and let me know what you think.
شنو يا استاذ يا سبحان الله شيء طاير بالهواء شنو هذا الله اكبر الله اكبر الله اكبر شنو هذا هذا زمن 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 هذا تبع عليه زيت شنو هذا ايه جاي يصور والله بيتصل شنو هذا لا مو بيتصل جاي 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 وين جاي جاي والله ترى لا مو بيتصل شنو هذا ما اعرف شنو هذا العشاء احمر ونقد
Making sarcophagi that way.
I was just telling my wife, they're moving sarcophaguses again. It's like that thing looks identical to a sarcophagus. I mean, this evidence is absolutely amazing.
So the previous jellyfish sighting thing was in Afghanistan. I believe.
Yes, it
And
was.
it went over a base, and you could see that it was like heat signature. It would get light. It was like blending, like it would make
Yep.
itself cooler, make itself darker, so that it was like kind of like masking on their radar. And it went out into the ocean and down into the water. And this one is not so far away. It's in Iraq. I don't know what part of Iraq. I don't know if
either.
it's near Afghanistan or not, but it does look like sarcophagus, and I wonder if that's why sarcophagus were made to look like that.
It could be.
You know, and ironically, a lot of the origins of people with the giant Anunnaki and stuff came right from that area, right from
Yes.
what is today Iraq. It used to be part of the Egyptian Empire.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's pretty cool. I love it.
Right.
I think that's very strange. And it was moving pretty quickly. It genuinely did look like a person on a jetpack, which I mean also makes no sense. I even got a little close up and you could see that it wasn't a person. It did look like a weirdly shaped craft, but dude, what the hell's going on in our skies? Like, did you see how close? Well, I mean, I guess the zoom helped, but how close it was to the civilians in this video? We need some answers. And sorry, guys, I'm a little sick, hence the lack of recent videos and the nasally sound. Next, we have a sighting that we may know the answer to, but it's still interesting. I want you guys to look at it because it may have been debunked, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Mick West was the person who debunked it, or allegedly did. But I want you guys to see it first and choose for yourself. This is a UFO sighting. I believe they were on a boat when they saw this one, and it looks very interesting. Check it out.
What in the hell is that? Did you see that? Oh my god! Oh my god, it just went straight to the water. Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
Where'd it go?
I still see it flowing in the water.
Now, as strange as that looked, Mick West claims that it was just a seagull, and he did upload an enhanced clip, which I will show you, that showcases his proof of that, or it demonstrates what he thinks is proof. And genuinely, it does look like it. He's not wrong. However, it did look like he was moving very quickly. And I know some people say that these things can change shapes to try and trick people. So I'm going to show you guys Mick West debunk video. But I want you guys to let me know in the comments. Do you think it's just a seagull? Or do you think it's actually a UFO? And the original clip came from UAP Kappa on Twitter. And then, of course, the debunk was from Mick West. Next, we have an older clip that has surfaced of two UAP.
All right. I was watching that too, and hopefully you all were too, who's ever watching. I don't think it's a seagull. I mean, because this person that says that they debunked it was flat out that they obviously reshared this one enhanced.
Yeah.
So what's to say that he didn't just make it look?
I mean, it was definitely a bird-like shape.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was like a really divine-looking bird. I mean, the wingspan was huge for a seagull.
And the way it dropped. I mean, okay, if they were having winds or something like that, maybe the bird could drop like that.
I don't know. I guess it could be maybe not a seagull, but like what they call an albatross.
We're good, so.
which is another type of. It's a really large seabird, and they do dive into the water.
I mean, it could be.
But I don't. I mean, as far as being a seagull, I don't know. Like I said, the wingspan was shaped way too big, and I don't know about the joints of the
Yeah.
wings. It doesn't really overly look too much like a seagull. Wasn't it at night?
Yeah, it was at night.
That's the other thing. Seagulls
Why
don't
would
fly
it?
at night.
Yeah, they don't.
Right. So.
Why?
Yeah. Exactly. Actually, I'm gonna look that up.
Please do.
Because owls hunt at night. That's
flying a pair seemingly in unison. This happened in Northeast Indiana in 2016, and it was uploaded by NVBC for Life. Check this out and let me know your thoughts in the comments. In my opinion, that definitely look like two Tic Tac UFOs flying parallel and in unison. They look like, I don't. It just looks so eerie. I'm watching it again, and they don't look like they have wings. It doesn't look like airplanes. They are oddly in sync, and they do look like just little elongated pills. That's very weird. And again, that happened September 2nd, 2016. So it's a little bit of an older clip, but it just goes to show that we've been seeing stuff like this for a while. Now, you guys are incredible, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. And if you enjoyed this, check out that UFO video, paranormal videos, reading Reddit, funny videos. Check out all the videos.
Experts now even more.
All right, now say what you said.
I did find out that seagulls, some are active at night, mostly a particular, I don't know, strain, variety that live in the Galapagos Islands called swallowtail seagulls, which that obviously was not because swallowtails would have a split tail.
Yeah.
But they say that they do sometimes have nighttime activities. I'm still leaning toward if it was a bird, it was an albatross because of the angle that it went into the water, the speed that it went into the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Because seagulls also, they go in flocks. Like there's going to be more than one.
Okay.
You know, and albatross can most generally will be a singular bird.
Yes.
But either way, I'm kind of more inclined to think that just like the ones that I've encountered here, if it is some sort of ultra-terrestrial or extraterrestrial, it's probably changing shape to avoid detection.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's like I've seen them turn into spiders. You know, it's like the minute that I think, oh, maybe that could be an orb spider, it starts literally exhibiting habits of an orb spider, and it wasn't doing it before.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm like, you're reading my mind, you're doing something weird.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit more research on the albatross, but yeah, I'm leaning toward the fact that it was like an ultra terrestrial.
Yeah.
And it's just changing the shape because it was a pretty large bird.
It was, yeah, for
And
sure.
And the wing shape to me looked more like an albatross, and I still do think that I think it was just an ultra-terrestrial just changing shape.
Yeah, probably. All right, now we're off of that. Let's move on to the new discovery of the Pyramid of Giza. They're saying that they found through, what is it, the sonogram, the deep... what do you call
it's
it?
a radar thing.
Yeah, deep radar, that they found chambers and what looks to be, could be possibly have been a city 4,000, I believe they said, feet down.
So there's a couple of theories. Either this was a civilization, a city that was there long before the ancient Egyptians even ever thought about building their pyramids there, and it got covered over by time by some cataclysmic event, and they just built on top of it. Or it was another part of like the god's city, much like Atlantis, an advanced section. There's a couple of things that it could be. I think that the people that found it are leading toward that great cataclysmic thing. They're thinking that there was a great civilizations
that was there before,
all over the place, many times before, that just got wiped out by this asteroid. Not the same asteroid that did the dinosaurs, because that was millions of years ago, but like 60,000 years ago.
Yes.
Whereas they say that our first recorded cities were only 9,000, maybe 10,000 years ago.
Exactly. So it's a lot further back than what we thought civilization started.
But it makes sense because you read all these stories that talk about that, either a flood or fire or asteroids or some sort of solar activity.
And like we were talking about, the Sphinx and stuff has water damage. To tell of a flood.
Right, you can't tell me. I mean, that is not wind. You can tell wind and sand. This is not. This has like veins that come down as if it has been sitting in water. I mean, there's a big difference. So that makes sense that there would be a flood, and God knows what else.
Exactly.
God knows what else.
I know.
And so I don't see why we couldn't have had 4 or 5 different rise and falls of great civilizations.
Well, we always have. We've always had rise, and every time as civilization has rose, it has fallen.
And have no trace of it. I mean, like I said, if something were to happen like that today or tomorrow, you would find no trace of us. You would have no idea.
No.
Like it would be buried, and it would be the same thing all over again.
And they'd be like, "Oh my God, look at all this!"
Eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes some of these cataclysms that have happened in the past are so bad that they bury stuff.
Yeah.
But like, look at Troy. When I were in school,
Troy was a myth.
It was a myth, and now
they found out it's real.
Yeah. So what else is out there?
Exactly.
So it's gonna be interesting.
And I'm a big firm believer in the city of Atlantis truly existing.
Yeah, it's been on maps and everything.
And Pluto talked about it.
Plato.
Yeah. Sorry.
There was a Plutonius, but no, this was a Plato.
Yeah, but he had talked about it.
And even mapped it. Yeah.
So, I mean, tell me that it didn't really exist if that was the case.
Right.
All right, let's see what these people are talking about it.
More confident a vast city exists under Giza pyramids in Egypt after new discovery. Scientists on a mission to prove a vast city sits more than 4,000 feet below Egypt's Giza pyramids have released a new analysis they say proves the findings to be true. Take a look at this. This is what they're claiming. Let's zoom out. They're claiming that under the pyramids, look at this, the Great Pyramid of Giza. How do you pronounce that?
Khafra
and Menkaure.
Yeah.
Underneath it, they say there's giant vertical shafts, 8 vertically aligned cylindrical structures arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south, descends to a depth of more than 2,100 feet. And look at this. This is what they're claiming. So now you've got people like Ian claiming that they're giant batteries or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I made a video yesterday about this, and I've been doing research on it all week. There's no corroborating evidence that I can find. This is just some Italian scientists said
they say a confidence level above 85%.
That's awesome because I want it to be true. It's just I need to see the scientific paper before I start to throw weight behind it. But if it was real and they had wells underneath the pyramids that were that deep down to the aquifers underneath, they might have been tapping into what's called a telluric current. It's Telluric.
That sounds like something you made up.
Yeah, but in fact, I didn't. It's called a telluric current. It means earth current. And it's this low voltage current that travels around the planet and follows water.
Electrical current.
He didn't make it up, in fact.
Yeah.
Here's electrical current that flows underground or through the sea, resulting in the from natural and human-induced causes, extremely low frequency.
And it'll actually go out of the earth, out into the sun. And it goes into the sun and then comes back to the earth through the poles. And there's this flow. And so Nikola Tesla was obsessed with tapping into the earth's telluric current to produce power. So if these guys had water, and down there they're tapping into this electrolyte of salt water, and then they had a conductor in these wells. It could have been sending a charge up to the top, which is where they've got these granite buildings, these what they call the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid. It's one of them. It's granite. Everything else is limestone, and the pyramid is made of granite, essentially everything else. And why? Granite's a crystal. It vibrates. It's very dense. It's very strong. So they have these identical 5 granite structures that look like powered nodes, like power station nodes. And it's possible that they were vibrating and creating an electrical charge that was like a Tesla coil. If you hold an incandescent light up near an active Tesla coil, it lights up. So that these pyramids might have been lighting up the vicinity.
You think they were lighting up?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
there's no fire in the pyramids.
The oil companies have had the technology for a long time to see pretty deep with precision into the ocean floor and into the ground. This seems like it'd be pretty easy to figure out.
I think that's what they did.
Okay.
They're
Well,
using
then that
ground
should be easy.
penetrating
We could get a
technologies.
second party to come in and ask BP to go in there and take a look or something.
The problem they'd had before is they were using photons, I believe, to measure. And if you have lots of different objects, you can't penetrate all the objects properly. They diffract and they bounce and they stop each other. But now what this guy claims to have done, these scientists, is that they're converting photonic data into phonons, which are sound, lower frequency, and they're able to measure seismic data, seismic activity. And so they can see around everything that's inside. And they said, literally, these were transparent. With their technology, the pyramids become transparent, and they can. But I'm waiting on the scientific.
I'm just wondering how nobody found these before just by digging. I mean, like, people have gone in the pyramids.
We're so early.
Didn't Mr. Beast go in the pyramids?
Yeah, he went under the pyramids. Jimmy Corsetti posted about that. He said, "This is it. Basically debunks this claim. Mr. Beast was under Jimmy. I don't know what Jimmy's last name is. Mr. Beast. But I'm talking about Jimmy. Yeah,
Jimmy Beast.
Jimmy Beast was down there in the waterways under the pyramids. Apparently, I guess I don't know. I don't know if he was. I got to ask him.
Just the idea that
look at this.
If they did have electricity, if they had access to some kind of electricity like that, I mean, that really would end up changing everything we know about history.
So what if they're gigantic, like, copper cylinders with wire winding all around them?
That'd be so cool.
And then, or they could have, because they said
terrifying.
They said those were spiral staircases, so they might have went down to those cubes. The cubes, apparently, I think they're hollow, and the water was flowing through the cubes.
Bro, there's stairs.
Well, that's what they said. Is that there's spiral staircases?
2,100-foot tall spiral staircases.
That's what they said.
That's a long staircase.
I know, because I thought they were coils. At first, I was like, what you said, that they were made of like a conductor, and those were the coils. But maybe they dipped the conductor into the well. It's one of the two, if that were the direction they were heading. But then in ancient Egypt, they talked about the underworld under the pyramids where souls would go. I think it's Amenoph or something in the book of it's the Book of the Dead. Yeah, they talk about it, and people would go under the pyramids, and their souls would get washed away into this flow, perhaps the telluric current, and from the flow would come the souls, and they would like teach people, like, when you're about to die, these are the things you say to the spirits. This is how you navigate that realm. Because
you're saying that electricity doesn't exist. It's actually the
Ghosts.
souls of all the dead people in the ground, and their energy is being harnessed.
Maybe it's the same thing.
My car runs on ghosts.
Maybe
Just
true.
shoving ghosts into my car.
But what's weird is
get around.
I had originally said it's an ancient culture before Egypt, before the Egyptians, 10,000, 15,000 years ago. They had this technology, Atlantis, and it was washed away. And then the Egyptians came and they built on top of it, and they didn't know what the hell was going on. But these underground, the pyramids is limestone. And everyone's like, where did they get the limestone for the pyramids? Well, they dug it from underneath, apparently, if this is true. So it would have been the Egyptians that built on top, would have mined it then. But if the Egyptians built the mine, then it wouldn't have been the ancient culture that built the mine.
It'd be cool if they like dig into there and there's this massively advanced city, but like abandoned, just been there for 4,000 years.
I hope it's abandoned.
Hope there is.
No, there's dinosaurs down there, and they're trying to press.
All right, I'm pausing it for a second. This is a really good setup here. These people, I like it. The one guy is a big geek, you can tell. And I mean, these are very, very interesting theories. And I mean, hopefully we see someday that one of these is true.
I mean, they say, well, hopefully it's abandoned, but there's a big possibility that it isn't, because
Yeah.
there's a huge theory that happens that they say that there's a whole civilization that's happening on the inside of the earth. There's like a whole like living city there, people say that they've accessed it through like the natural catacombs in Shasta. You know,
Yeah.
like they say that they've watched a dude walk right through a wall, and like they follow that dude into the wall, and they're like in this underground. I got chills.
Yeah.
This underground like world, like
Exactly.
a whole world. And then there was the guy that flew through a hole at
And,
the top of the world, and then ended up at the bottom.
On the North Pole, right?
Yeah, then ended up at the South
And he
Pole.
ended up at the South Pole, coming out. Yeah, that's very interesting stuff. I mean,
Oh, I got chills on my legs even. That's making crazy.
and I can't believe with this about Mr. Beast going down under and to the water, because
No, that's nothing though.
you're still talking about him being down 20,000, 40,000 feet, did they say?
No, there's no way because they found this 4,000 feet.
Okay, no, yeah. 4,000
See,
feet.
4,000 feet is from here to the top of will be from like Lake Isabella. Actually, it would be a little lower than Lake Isabella, like from Death Valley to the top. Hold on, dude. From Death Valley to the top of what is it, Walker's Pass.
Yeah.
That's how deep. That's how far.
Yeah, and that's deep.
That is so like if he's just under there just a couple, like a few hundred feet or something, that's not even close.
No, you're not even near where this stuff
It's
is.
impossible because there's
And
so
I
much
mean,
sand. There's just no way.
That's a very interesting thing about the limestone.
I made it the Discord profile.
But that's an interesting thing about the limestone, that they would have drawn the limestone from what the other civilization did.
Right.
And I mean, that's very possible.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense of how the pyramids were.
That is like not the only time this has been talked about too. Like I was talking about the Mayans and the Incas.
Yeah.
The Mayans come along and then there's the conquistadors that come and like, oh my God, how did you build all this? And they're like, no, this was here way before we got here.
Exactly.
So it was like, this is not the first time this has been said by ancient cultures and stuff. So there's a big possibility that several thousand years before they say that our history started, there was already a whole history before that.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It is. It's very cool. All right, let's get on with this.
Press the buttons, but their arms aren't long enough, and they're like, "This sucks."
What if there's like ancient battery? It's because it's called the Baghdad battery. This is where it really got the idea, and it's a copper, or it's like a clay pot, and they'll fill it with an electrolyte, like
Vinegar or lemon juice or something,
or wine or something like that. And then they'll do the iron rod with the copper wiring, or copper rod. It's an iron rod with copper wiring, and they get an electrical charge, and then they can link the. So it's best of my submission, man. I hope it's real.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy.
I mean,
It's true though.
It is. Apparently it is real. It's just a matter of, can we actually figure out what it is?
Because if those scientists lied, their reputations are destroyed forever, and no one will ever take them seriously for the rest of eternity. So why would they lie about this?
Why don't they scan under other pyramids?
They did in 2022. They scanned the Great Pyramid with the same technology, and they have an interesting.
Yeah, but what about the other pyramids in like Central America?
I don't know yet.
Look, there are people that make mistakes. There are people out there that will swear up and down the earth is flat.
So listen, there was a story a couple years ago that cracked me.
All right, go ahead.
Another thing that brings this to kind of makes sense is they, for many years, that there's chambers that go underneath the Sphinx, and they say that is the Hall of Records. The records of all history leading up until that point. Now it totally makes sense because where is the evidence of this place written down by anybody else?
Yeah,
it would be there. So yeah, there's another little piece of evidence that like points to that. And if we did in fact have like a big flood, of course it's going to fill a bunch of sand up on top of stuff. For all we know, the Sphinx is sitting up on top of an ancient mountain.
Yeah.
And all within that mountain is the Hall of Records.
Exactly. We have no idea.
It's covered up with sand because of thousands and thousands of years of flooding and environmental changes.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, it's so interesting. It's like,
it really is.
Will we ever know? I mean, we should at some point know, but in our lifetime, I don't know if we'll know.
Oh I mean, if you commune with the aliens and stuff, then
Yeah.
you probably know. I mean,
But I mean, as far as these,
but who will believe us? You know?
yeah, and I mean, as far as them
like
finding,
like mainstream
Yeah.
acceptance and everything. Yeah, probably not.
Me up and reminds me about when people talk about science as if it's something you can say is exact. We reported on CBS when I was working there that they had found what appeared to be the oldest man that was still intact, and they gave some date of billions, millions of years old. He was naked, wearing no clothes, found him at the top of the mountain in some foreign country. So we did a little reader on that on the news. The next day there was a little correction on Associated Press that said the daughter of the man recognized that as her father, who had disappeared a couple years ago climbing up the mountain.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, the scientists said this was the oldest guy that they'd ever seen preserved in ice, and it was really just this woman's father.
Well, I remember back in the day, every other day, coffee either caused or cured cancer. News would be like, coffee will help prevent cancer. The next day, coffee may actually cause cancer. And it's like, okay.
Cholesterol too. Cholesterol good, cholesterol bad.
Remember,
Cholesterol good.
fat was bad. Everybody had low fat everything.
Yes.
Now sugar's bad.
Yeah, they did that sugar-free craze where they just
they claim that that the sugar industry ran a propaganda campaign against fat, blaming fat for weight gain and stuff.
I think there's good evidence about
Katie
all that.
Couric's documentary "Fed Up" is all about
Wouldn't
that.
it be funny if in 20 years they're like, actually, fat was bad the whole time, and the fat industry ran a campaign against the sugar industry, accusing them of a.
It's so frustrating, but I
Hard to
wouldn't be
believe.
shocked.
To be fair, though, you need fat to regulate hormones. And so when people were cutting all that fat out of their diets and eating gelatin and other garbage like gum,
especially saturated fats, those are good. The
To be fair, you look at cows getting fat, not eating fat, but eating hay and
grass. They eat grass.
Corn.
They eat
That's
cud.
what makes them fat. Not
Actually, I think cows eat bacteria. Isn't that what they do? They chew on the cud. The bacteria then starts growing on it. So they eat the grass, it goes in their stomach, they spit it up, chew on it again. The bacteria grows on it, and their body digests the bacteria.
Is that the good stuff we want in our gut? You know how they say we have to have the good. All right. Well, we should chew our cud.
Haven't you been doing deep dives on health and
Not that. But yeah, I've been doing deep dives on some of the stuff you guys are alluding to about the manipulation of the health information and why got all these chronic health disorders.
You saw the West Virginia banning artificial dyes.
Yes, I reported on that. In fact, I think a lot of bans are about to come because this has been on the precipice of it with the FDA taking action. Finally, on the eve of Donald Trump taking office, they finally have decided to take action on a couple of these things like red dye. Number 3, I think they're going to ban fluoride. Everybody says that's a conspiracy theory.
Whoa, you think the government's going to ban fluoride in water?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
There's been a court decision in California that I don't know why more people haven't reported it, but based on the scientific evidence that is established that fluoride at levels typically found in water, the judge agreed.
When was this ruling?
In the last 6 months.
So September?
Ish. And the court ordered the EPA to make a determination as to what should be done to make it safe. And since there's no way to make it safe because you can't regulate how much fluoride a person gets because you don't know how much water an individual's drinking or getting in all of their products.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.
Okay, major breaking news. They have just discovered something.
That was a really interesting podcast on that last one, so I'm very glad that I picked that one. This next one is a Christian-based one, so it's going to be even more interesting to see what they have to say about what's going on. So I'm just going to cut into it so you can hear and see what else is being said about it.
something insane beneath the pyramids, and it literally just happened this week. I want you guys to look at this, because by using new radar technology from outer space, scientists have found massive hidden structures beneath the pyramids of Giza. And when I say massive, I mean colossal. You won't believe this, but they detected structures extending 600 meters deep into the bedrock. That's nearly 2,000 feet straight down. And if that wasn't crazy enough, these structures connect to even deeper formations that go 2 kilometers underground, 1.24 miles below the surface. But I hear what you're thinking. Joe, could this be some kind of underground energy grid? Well, beneath the pyramid of Khafre, they found 8 massive pillars, which researchers confirm are not natural. These pillars are part of deliberate human construction, suggesting that these formations have an advanced purpose. And the fact that these structures extend so deep into the earth is raising even more questions. Now, what might be even more mind-blowing is that the latest radar scans have uncovered what appears to be an underground city beneath this pyramid. Now, let's just pause here for a minute, because obviously this is just speculation, and like most of my videos, I'm just talking about this stuff for entertainment purposes until I reach the conclusion of my video, because when I get to that part, I'm mega sincere, as you all know. Okay, so what is going on here? What is going on in this pyramid situation? Well, they decided to use a new radar technology, and researchers identified 5 interconnected structures near the pyramid's base. Again, these extended 648 meters deep into the ground, and this discovery reveals vertical shafts and even a possible spiral staircase with 2 large chambers. Are you imagining this right now? Because these structures suggest the presence of a sophisticated subterranean network, possibly even linked to an ancient water system used in the pyramid's construction. So, could these be part of a worldwide energy network? Or perhaps even a remnant of an advanced civilization's technology? Okay, well, let's just take a step back and think about the pyramid's age and its scale. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built 4,500 years ago. So just chew on that for a second. And just think how smart these guys must have been back then to build such an amazing thing. And if it was the Egyptians, like the common school of thought says it was, well, that is a testament of how great they were at engineering, at how smart these Egyptians were. However, a little later on, we are going to look at some other suggestions of who else might have possibly built the pyramids. But did you know it's originally believed to have been 481 feet tall, but now it only stands at 455 feet tall due to the loss of the outer casing stones. However, this is probably the most impressive fact, but the Great Pyramid was constructed using 2.3 million stone blocks, with each block weighing somewhere between 2.5 and 15 tons.
Okay.
Okay, so Khafre or Cheops, it used to be called Cheops.
Yes.
The raising of Cheops, that pyramid. The pyramid is called Cheops, the one that was buried within it was supposedly Khafre, but they're not really sure because the guy that was looking for it, they suspect that he was kind of coming to the end of his funding and everything, and they said you better find something kind of like King Tut situation,
Yeah,
right?
something big.
And they're like, you better find something, and they kind of suspect that he just scribbled in this king's name and said, oh my God, this is where this guy was buried, and so it is up in the air whether it's Khafre's pyramid or not, but it's rather irrelevant because this pyramid is near Cairo, and Cairo means Camp of Mars.
Yes.
So that is an indication that, you would think the people that came from Mars must have made a camp there.
Yeah.
So could this city that's down below be that camp, and then the modern Cairo that we know now is just kind of sitting on top, named symbolically after it?
That's very possible. And is that the one that he just talked about at the beginning that had the 8 structures underneath of
Yes.
it, or?
Yes. Yeah, this is the one where they found those pylons or whatever.
Yeah.
That are underneath it.
So I mean, that's an interesting thing. It very well could be.
Yes, because the other king's name was Khufu. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it was like he put in the word Khufu and it's supposed to be Khafre or whatever. But in any case, there was three of them. The weirdest thing is they're supposed to be tombs, but no kings were ever found in any of them.
Well, yeah, and that's why you got to wonder what were they really.
Right, exactly.
And I can see them being energy grids.
Especially since they said that they could have run off the water from the Nile, you know.
Yeah, and also there. See what the way that I'm looking at it too is that you can have the fact that they used to be energy pylons, giant, massive energy pylons, right? Grabbing from what that other guy was saying, grabbing from that thing and throwing the power, because they said that it used to be like aliens used to come and go.
Yeah, right.
So what if they were like landing areas and charging stations for the ships?
Right, exactly. Camp of Mars.
'Cause
that would kind of indicate that.
The moon used to be a fueling station.
Well, they used to say that like the Anunnaki or the predecessors to the Egyptian gods, they came from Mars, and they said that their planet was shredded, delayed, right? So they had that story in Mesopotamia, and they had the exact same story in South America when they talked about the sun gods and and they said the exact same thing. They said that their planet had been filleted, made to be stripped apart. Same exact story, 7,000 to 9,000 miles apart.
Exactly.
Crazy things there,
Yeah.
So I have to think that, the giants, the gods, whatever they were, in fact, they came from Mars and then they came here to this planet.
Yes, exactly.
Didn't really work out, caused some problems, and then, we're gonna go. And
Exactly.
it's like, we'll be back. There was always that promise that someday they'd be back.
And now people don't take to it as kindly anymore. I mean, people will shoot at things that are in the sky
For
that
God's
look
sake.
weird.
Already with the drones.
Yes.
So
I mean, that would keep them away, so we would never know again.
Yeah, back in the day, they were revered, they were respected, they worked alongside, they helped build civilizations. But now it's like, especially with the governments,
Exactly.
it's like, oh, this is ours, or you're a threat. Everything's a threat, So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they were from Mars, and that was their little space.
Exactly.
Because also somewhere out in Iraq, there's a big ass slab.
Yeah.
I mean, and the slab is put together with these stones that are as big as this room, if not bigger. And no possible way could you just took them and slide them in like Jenga.
No.
But that's how they're put together, and they think that could have possibly been a landing pad as well.
It's very true. And also, like on Mars in its own, they're finding pyramid-shaped structures.
Yeah.
There's a face.
Right. Well, that
structure.
They tried to debunk by saying that it's just the way that it happened to be caught at that point, that the shadows made it look like that.
They can try and debunk whatever they want to, but it's the fact that we still caught it that way.
I mean, I'll give them that, but what about the rest?
Yeah.
What about
They're
the
finding
sheer
this,
rock
yeah,
wall?
and the structure, the pyramid structures.
Yeah, there's just no way. And then I've seen doorways.
Yeah.
They look remarkably similar to the ancient doorways that are there on Mars. And
Yes.
that's supposed to be a natural structure.
Exactly. All right, let's get back to this and see what we got. This is a good one to get.
Some of the largest blocks found in the king's chambers weigh up to 50 tons. I was so taken aback when I heard this, because the sheer weight and the sheer size of these blocks, coupled with the fact that the ancient Egyptians didn't have the modern tools and cranes and machinery like we have today, it just makes this really hard to believe that it was done just using manual labor and primitive tools. You see, the logistics behind moving such massive stones, it's a mystery, isn't it? A mystery even to this day. Now, listen to me. Here's something else that challenges our understanding of the pyramids. No mummies, listen to me, no mummies whatsoever have been found in the Great Pyramid or any of the major pyramids. Historically, these massive structures have been thought to be royal tombs, but the fact that no mummies have ever been found here suggests that the pyramids might not have even been tombs in the first place. In fact, some researchers now propose that the pyramids could have served another purpose entirely. Maybe they could have been energy generators, they say, or places of spiritual or scientific significance. So no, they weren't merely burial chambers. In this video here, I suggested, like Ron White and Ben Carson, that they could have been used for storing grain, and maybe even Joseph from the Bible, under the inspiration of God's wisdom, helped design the pyramids. But between you and me, I'm actually not so sure about this theory anymore, because it's very likely that the pyramids were built long before Joseph was even on Earth. So here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, so another cool little tidbit. I don't know about Joseph, but there's a story that talks about Thoth and him helping to build the pyramids, and it mirrors exactly the story of Enoch from the Bible.
See?
The same exact story, the same amount of time that he was taken away, the same amount of time before he was brought back, the things that he did.
Yes.
And they said that he was rumored to have helped build the pyramids or built the pyramids directly. So
there you have it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure about Joseph, but definitely in the Old Testament.
It'd be worth looking into later.
Yeah, it was the book of Thoth and Enoch.
Yeah, see?
And I forgot what the name was. There was a name that, but it was also, it was like the same as Enoch.
Yep.
But yeah. Another little cool tidbit. I'm trying to have my phone.
There's a theory that the pyramids were actually energy generators. You've heard of Nikola Tesla before? Well, he believed in the possibility of wireless power transmissions across the Earth. Could these underground pillars and the recently discovered structures be part of an ancient electromagnetic grid? Some even suggest they could be power plants. And these are actually coils that the researchers have found, which were once designed to generate and distribute wireless electricity across the Earth. So it is possible that the pyramids were part of an ancient worldwide energy system. I'm going to let you into a secret right now, but you've got to promise me you'll do something. If you do go ahead and Google the facts I'm going to share with you, you must come back to this video to hear my conclusion. Okay, now if you Google, I'll leave a link in the description, if you Google the Pyramids of Giza's coordinates, you'll get this number. Now, why is that a big deal? Because if you also Google the speed of light, you will get this number. Is that just a coincidence? Or was the positioning of the pyramid tied to some cosmic scientific principles that we are only just starting to understand? Right, let's put another theory under the test. As you know, the Bible teaches that there wasn't just one Goliath who walked on the earth, but there were many. Could these newly discovered underground structures be proof that an advanced pre-Egyptian civilization was responsible for building the pyramids? Many believe these ancient builders were not just ordinary humans, but rather a clan of big guys, or a lost civilization that had access to technology that is far beyond what we could ever comprehend. Now, please, everyone look at me, because this next theory, I need you to know I am literally just sharing this with you for entertainment purposes. But some even suggest that the pyramid's alignment with Orion's belt, which is perfectly aligned, points to some kind of extraterrestrial involvement. They say perhaps the pyramids were constructed with space knowledge or assistance, and these hidden structures are somehow linked to their technology up above. Again, I really don't think that's the case. But one thing you're probably not going to do when you're trying to figure out what is the explanation for all of these underground structures is you are unlikely to turn to the Bible. But the Bible mentions the concept of an inner earth. I'm sorry for the pun, but may I go deeper? Let's look at the concept of an underworld as seen in the Bible. You see, the scripture speaks of an ancient, mysterious realm beneath the earth known as Sheol, or the abyss. An underworld that is often hidden from our view, but it still plays a significant role in the biblical narratives. In Numbers 16, we find the story of the sons of Korah. These men rebelled against God's authority, and as a result, the earth opened up and took them in whole, taking them down into the depths of the earth. Have you heard of that passage before where the ground split open? Have you heard of the Bible describing a place called the abyss? A place beneath the earth reserved for the rebellious. A place where the fallen angels have been confined for rebelling against God in heaven. Another intriguing event occurs in 1 Samuel.
All right.
So both of our people and the ancient Egyptians both talked about the underworld,
yes,
and the other world. And
Yep.
when they talked about the other world, it was more of like up and heavenly.
Yeah.
And then the underworld was exactly as it sounded. It was under everything.
The world, yeah.
And I think the other world was more like what would happen after death, but this was like a very real place where you actually had to traverse and talk to people and
Yes.
answer questions, 42 to be exact, 42 questions as you go along to move to the next point, to the next point, to the next point, to reach the point of judgment, where they decided whether you were going to go on to the other world or reincarnate, or disappear. I think the actual city Egyptians believed that you just disappeared, that there was no more, but our people said you had to reincarnate.
Yes.
So, like, you had the desert rats, the desert Egyptians and the shepherds and everything that had their version of this. And they're the ones that inspired Moses, and they're the ones that probably spoke with Jesus and everything. And they had some influence over biblical text for sure.
Yes,
But,
it did.
yeah, there was the underworld and the other world, different places.
This is more your speed and go with the stuff that's coming up now.
Yeah, it's like this is what I do.
For me, it's really fascinating, and I know that it's right around there. I do believe that those pyramids were a type of power plant.
It makes sense, and also they didn't mention it, but the pyramids in South America, they also align with Orion's belt, or at least.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what they mean by align, because it's like depending on what time of year.
Yeah.
But they are built like that shape.
Exactly.
You have the big one, and then the smaller one, and then the smallest one.
Yeah.
And then there's one here, and then there's one that's a little higher than that, and one right next to it. So it does, in fact,
mimic. Yeah, and I mean that's a very popular thing.
There's an ancient city called Chaco Canyon out in New Mexico, I think. And
I wouldn't know.
It too has, if you look at it from above, has the same exact alignment.
So I mean, they had it, and also then you get into all the desert carvings.
Nazca.
I mean, those can only be seen and known from space.
Yeah.
So how did the older civilizations do that and know that it made what it made?
Yeah, there's no big mountains or anything to stand up there and
No.
look down and say, okay, this is how I'm going to draw it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, they just used to walk these paths, for a spiritual purpose. I believe that. I believe that's how they were made. But how the hell did they see how they were looking?
Yeah.
I mean, if I tried to make something like that from down here, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a horse from down here. And when I went up, it would look nothing like a horse.
Exactly.
But they
You're like, well, I thought it was a horse.
It would be all stretched out. And
Yeah.
There's no way to know what.
Exactly. That's the problem.
So, yeah.
So there was intervention of some way.
For sure.
All right. Let's.
Samuel 28, when King Saul seeks advice from the prophet Samuel, who, by the way, had already passed away. In a desperate attempt to gain some kind of guidance, Saul visits a medium at Endor to summon Samuel from the underworld. The scripture describes how Samuel's spirit was brought up from the earth. This powerful moment shows us that there could well be an idea that there is a world beneath our feet. Additionally, during the times of Noah, water didn't just come down from the sky like many of the pictures show us, but the Bible explains that fountains of the great deep were broken open, sending water up from beneath the earth. This remarkable event points to a deep and hidden world below, one that has its own significance in God's plan. But if you remember one thing, remember this. It all points to this one profound truth. Jesus Christ has authority over all realms, including those realms beneath the earth. The Bible says in Philippians 2, verses 10 to 11, "At the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things on earth and things under the earth." This proves to us that the Lord Jesus Christ, he doesn't just have power and authority over the heavens. He doesn't just have power and authority over the earth, but he has power and authority over that beneath the earth. There are different realms. And I need to ask you, we may not understand these things, but there's one thing we should understand. I'm a sinner, you're a sinner. We've all done wrong against this mighty, great, big God who is powerful. This mighty God who went down into the realms of the dead and rose from the grave. Have you put your trust in him? Have you come to the cross and asked Jesus Christ to wash away your sins? And have you read the Bible? You're very happy to look at all these different theories on the internet, but will you read that old book? Will you brush the dust off that old book and find the answers there, where it talks about many of these things, and it's all there in that book that you look past, you ignore so very often? Come to Christ right now. This video is no accident. He loves you, he wants to save you, and he wants to wash away all of your sins. But the question is, will you come? Oh, by the way, if this is the first time you've ever watched this channel, we kind of make videos like this quite often, so you might just want to subscribe. And know this is a very, very brief overview over what's happened. If you want to see my most popular video, it's actually, I don't often quote the numbers, but it's actually got over 6 million views. If you want to see my video about the pyramids of Giza, what all the fuss is about, you better click here. God bless you all, and thank you for watching.
It went.
You removed it. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was very good. I mean, that guy was really good with his work too. So what was it? It was
Off the Crib Ministries.
Off the Crib Ministries. Check him out if you guys haven't. So
I've liked a lot of their stuff, but it's been a really long time that I kind of forgot. So I just love it when Christians have an open enough mind to talk about those sorts of things and still say that it's okay because their Christ is in is
exactly.
in control. Like for us, like I said, if you were to switch the word Jesus with the word mat or truth, it would be the same. Like the scriptures are like the same.
They're identical, yes.
So like when they say to live in Christ, it says it's to live in truth.
Yeah.
And if you can only achieve, heaven through Jesus, you can only achieve heaven through truth. Like divine truth.
Yes, exactly.
So we are all much more alike than.
Yes, I mean, we read the Bible every single morning. I go over with my son, and we read one passage. We are in Romans. We just read Romans 8 this morning.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Corinthians was interesting.
Yeah, Corinthians is one of the better ones.
You get Paul's more bitter side there a little bit, but really interesting topics, like Paul talking about how it's not natural for men to wear long hair, so we have to sit back and think about that. Well, what could be like?
Yep.
Because for us, it's like we don't question God's perfection. We don't cut hair for that reason.
Yep.
But you have to remember, back in the day, women wore really long hair. So if men were to wear really long hair, it would look kind of effeminate and kind of weird.
Yeah, but like with my hair and stuff, I don't think they would consider it long.
No, that's just normal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like the average length, and it doesn't grow any farther than that.
Exactly.
So that's interesting.
No, it doesn't really. My hair just stays now.
So I suppose that Paul would say you had really long hair if it was like down past your butt or something.
Yeah.
But And it just depends on like the region that you come from and the culture that you come from.
It really does.
Native Americans have very long
Oh,
hair, and that's
yeah,
completely
really
natural.
flowy.
Really thick, yes. Very, very. Yeah, I'm very jealous of hair like that. But
Yeah, I am too.
But it just depends. It's like, so that's natural for them, so it wouldn't be against. They're not fashioning it like a woman, it's
Yeah.
natural to them.
That is very true.
So just to be fashioning it like a woman would make you effeminate, and that's just not. That's against nature. And wear
Yes.
headscarves and all that.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and special shout out to Chatty Charlie. I hope you're doing okay out there. We haven't heard from you in a while. Sancho, thank you again for all those video clips.
Yeah, we'll put everything together and
We'll get more going here.
keep gathering the evidence.
Who else do we have on that special thanks?
I mean, your dad. He's not on the list, but your dad for paying for the internet.
Yeah,
and
my
keeping us
dad
going.
pays for the internet and keeps us going. And of course, my wife. I'd like to give a special shout out to her. She keeps most of this moving.
Yeah, like your producer / editor.
Yep. And then there's always my my son Guru.
Yep.
He's got his channel going strong.
Yeah, he's the one that started us on this whole entire YouTube
Yep.
path.
And then our newest and most, may he grow strong.
Yeah. His name is also Egyptian, meaning of the moon.
Yes.
So
And of course, all the gods and goddesses out there.
it's funny. Every morning, after the opening day, I say, I always pray to Anubis and say thank you for guiding and guarding our blessed dead.
Yep.
And I say thank you for being my offspring. Thank you for being my offspring, and thank you for being my husband.
Of course.
Every day, open with gratitude.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Namaste. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.
I was gonna try and I'm gonna get it.